All right, everyone, get ready because today we are going deep on something that could really make or break your website's visibility.
Oh, yeah,
Google's core updates.
definitely.
We asked you guys to share some resources, and one that came up again and again was straight from Google Search Central.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it's a little dense.
Yeah, it can be.
So we're going to break it all down together
Sounds good.
and figure out what it means for you in plain English.
Yeah, for sure.
So first of all, for anyone who might not know,
Yep.
what is Google Search Central?
So basically, it's like this giant hub of resources for developers and site owners,
Gotcha.
all about making your site as discoverable as possible on Google,
By Google, of course.
of course.
So it's like the mothership of SEO info.
Exactly.
And straight from the source, which is what we love.
Love it.
So one of the things that really stood out to me in this resource
Yeah.
was that these core updates, they happen multiple times a year,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of people don't even realize it.
Right.
It's like this secret force that's kind of shaping the search landscape.
Totally.
So how do we even know if we've been impacted by one of these updates?
That's a great question.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so we're going to learn how to use Google Search Console,
Yes.
which is that free tool that Google offers.
Free is good.
Always.
Yes.
To actually see if a core update has hit your site
Yeah.
and by how much.
Uh-huh.
And get this, they actually try to explain these big updates using a restaurant analogy.
Oh, I love analogies.
Okay, so they compare it to updating your list of top 20 favorite restaurants.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So it's not that the restaurants on your list are suddenly bad,
Right.
but maybe new amazing places have opened up.
Exactly.
Or your tastes have changed.
You've grown.
You've grown, right.
Yeah.
So let's connect this back to websites then.
Okay.
Because a site may not have actually done anything wrong
Uh,
to see a change in its ranking.
Yep.
But Google's constantly kind of like redefining what makes a website high quality.
Absolutely.
So let's bring in our expert to kind of give us the big picture here.
Sure.
What are these core updates actually trying to do?
So the first thing to remember is that these updates, they're not about going after any specific sites or anything like that.
Oh.
The main goal is to just improve the overall quality of search results for everyone.
Okay.
It's how Google is constantly adapting to the web because it's always changing.
So it's almost like Google's always raising the bar for what makes a website really high quality.
Precisely. And that's where I think that restaurant list analogy is so helpful.
Okay.
Imagine your list is like the best places to eat
Okay.
based on like what you know right now
Makes sense.
and what you like.
Right.
But then you discover some new places.
Uh-huh.
Or like you said, your preferences change.
Yeah,
Naturally, you update that list.
I would.
Exactly. And it's the same idea with websites.
Oh, okay.
A site might not have done anything wrong at all
Right.
to see a change in its ranking because Google's constantly refining how it understands what people are actually looking for.
And what makes a site really stand out?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say someone sees their website traffic change after one of these core updates.
Okay.
What's the first thing they should do?
Do not panic.
Okay, good.
Don't panic.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
should I be hitting the panic button?
No, the best thing to do is go into your search console
Okay,
and just investigate.
okay.
See if there's actually a drop in your site's position.
Okay, so walk us through that.
Okay.
What are the steps someone should actually take?
First, head to the search status dashboard
Uh-huh.
in Search Console.
Okay,
This will show you when the last core update actually happened,
gotcha.
and then you can see if the timing of that lines up with any changes in your traffic.
So if you notice a drop in traffic, like right when that update was rolling out,
Yeah,
that could be a sign.
it could be, but here's the thing.
Okay.
Don't jump to conclusions too quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Google actually says to wait at least a week after the update finishes before you start to worry.
Okay.
Sometimes things settle down naturally.
Patience is key.
Yes, always.
I'm learning that more and more
Yeah,
with SEO.
for sure.
So, okay, we've waited a week.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Then you can start comparing your data in Search Console
Okay.
from before and after the update.
Okay.
That'll show you how big of a change you're actually dealing with.
That makes sense, but would we want to go a little deeper than just looking at overall traffic?
You're absolutely right.
Oh,
Don't
so-
just look at the big picture.
Okay.
You really want to break it down by the different search types.
Oh, okay.
So see how your site's doing in web search,
Yeah.
image search,
Hmm.
video search,
Gotcha.
even the news tab,
If that's relevant.
if that applies to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So instead of freaking out over a general dip in traffic,
Right?
we can actually pinpoint what areas of our site have been hit.
Exactly. It helps you figure out what needs attention.
So it's like having a map to guide us through the changes
Yeah.
rather than wandering around in the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that actually brings us to a really interesting point.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Hold that thought because we're going to have to pause our deep dive right there.
Oh, man.
But don't worry, we'll be back to explore what happens if you do see a big drop after an update,
Okay.
and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Looking forward to that.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone.
Back again.
We were just about to find out what to do if you actually do see a big drop in traffic after one of those core updates.
Right. So if that happens,
Okay.
Google suggests doing like a self-assessment.
Okay.
And that's really about looking at your site critically
Okay.
through the lens of their quality guidelines.
So less like a party game and more like we're putting our website on trial.
Yeah, in a way.
Okay.
It's about seeing your website the way Google sees it
Okay.
and the way users experience it.
And sometimes that takes like an outside perspective. Right. Because our listeners, they are experts in their fields.
Yeah.
But we can all get a little too close to our own work sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's easy to miss things
Yeah.
when you're so focused on the details.
And so Google actually gives some questions to kind of guide this self-assessment?
They do.
Okay.
And they really want you to think about your site the way a user would.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those questions.
Yeah.
What are some of the key things our listeners should be thinking about?
The first one is really the most fundamental.
Okay.
Is your content actually useful and informative?
Mm-hmm.
Does it answer the questions that someone might have
Okay.
when they land on your page?
Okay.
And is it written for people first?
No keyword stuffing or trying to trick the algorithms.
No, that's not going to fly anymore.
And Google's onto us.
They are smart.
Okay.
Another really important question is, are there other websites out there
Ooh.
doing a better job at covering that same topic?
Interesting.
Are they offering more in-depth info?
Yeah.
A better user experience?
So it's not just about being good, it's about being better than the competition.
It's a tough world out there.
It is. It is a tough world. And this brings up another really important point
Okay.
that Google really emphasizes. Quick fixes, they rarely work.
Cool.
They're really looking for those meaningful changes
Yeah.
that benefit your users in the long run.
For sure.
So it sounds like what they're saying is don't try to game the system.
Mm-hmm.
Just build a great website.
Exactly.
And the resource actually has this quote.
Oh, yeah.
It says, avoid doing quote-unquote quick fix changes.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on making changes that make sense for your users and are sustainable in the long term.
That's good advice.
I like that focus on the user build for the long term.
It's a good philosophy.
It's refreshing in this world of instant gratification.
Right.
So that's why the source material suggests focusing on things like rewriting or restructuring your content
Yes.
to make it more accessible and engaging for people who are actually reading it.
Yes. Make it easy to read.
Easy to read.
And enjoyable.
Right. So it's not always about creating new content.
Right.
It's about making what you already have even better.
Yeah, make the most of it.
And in some cases, it might even mean deleting content.
Oh, yeah.
That's not serving your audience.
Sometimes you got to let go.
I know that can be a tough decision.
It can be,
You know,
but sometimes it's necessary.
sometimes you have to let go
Yeah.
of things that aren't working.
For sure.
The source specifically talks about getting rid of content that was made for search engines.
Right.
And not actual people.
Yeah.
So decluttering your site,
Hmm.
making sure everything that's there really adds value.
Yeah. Less is more sometimes.
Less is more.
In this case, I think so.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Just like decluttering your house,
Oh, yeah.
it takes time
Uh-huh.
to see results
Yeah.
from these changes to your website.
Totally.
So we shouldn't expect to see instant results.
Don't expect to flip a switch.
Okay.
And suddenly everything's different.
Got it.
Google actually says it can take anywhere from a few days
Okay.
to several months
Oh, wow.
for their systems to fully recognize and reward those changes.
Okay, so again,
Mm-hmm.
patience is key.
Always.
It's more like running a marathon than a sprint
Yeah, I like
when it
like
comes to SEO.
a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, so, but even if we don't see changes right away,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean our work is wasted.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's all about the long game.
Okay.
Google's systems are constantly learning,
Uh-huh.
and a site that consistently offers good content
Okay.
and a good user experience,
Mm-hmm.
it's more likely to do well in the long run.
So we're playing the long game here.
We are.
It's all about understanding what Google values.
Yep.
Helpful, reliable people first.
That's it.
This has been really insightful.
I'm glad to hear that.
I feel like it's a lot to digest, though.
It is. There's a lot to unpack there.
So we're going to take a quick break and come back for some final takeaways. Okay, we are back and ready to wrap up this deep dive on Google's core updates. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot less intimidated by them now.
Yeah, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that it's easy to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But I think once you understand the why behind them,
Hmm.
it takes away some of the mystery.
Yeah, for sure. So let's do a quick recap.
Okay.
What are the big takeaways that our listeners should really remember about these core updates?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they're all about making search results better for users.
Okay.
They're not meant to be some kind of punishment.
Right.
It's about how Google's trying to keep up with a web that's always changing.
And even though we can't control when those updates happen,
Right.
we've learned that we can use tools like Search Console to
Yeah.
understand their impact
For sure.
and figure out if we need to make changes.
Absolutely.
So speaking of being proactive,
Mm.
our source material actually left us with a pretty interesting thought. And it gets to the heart of what SEO really is.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
So they basically said that search results, they're not static.
Okay.
They're always changing.
Right. Always evolving.
As user behavior changes, as the web itself changes,
Makes sense.
what works today
Mm-hmm.
might not work tomorrow.
Exactly.
Which means SEO is an ongoing process.
It never ends.
Right. It's not about finding that magic formula and then just sitting back and relaxing.
Nope. You got to stay on top of it.
Got to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Always learning, always adapting,
Absolutely.
always kind of refining your approach based on how things are shifting.
It's all about being flexible.
I like that. So it really puts the focus on building a website that truly serves your audience,
Yeah.
offering real value, making sure it's easy to use, easy to understand.
Right. If you make your users happy,
Mhm.
Google will be happy.
And on that note, we are going to wrap up this deep dive into Google's core updates. We hope you're leaving today feeling a little less intimidated, a little more empowered to really tackle your SEO. And until next time, happy exploring.